Alright, so let me show you now how to get all the prospects uploaded onto SmartReach. So I have all of them right here, you feel me? I downloaded them, exported, excuse me, as a CSV. So we got all these attorneys that we're going to hit up. Why am I picking attorneys? Well, I have my family my mother and father grew up in the legal industry, or I grew up in the legal industry where, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but both my parents were lawyers and stuff like that, so it's kind of like I know enough about, law lingo and kind of how to get myself in trouble. So the important thing that I should mention is that in this sheet, I added something called notes, where I'm just adding PS in case I see something like that sticks out. So PS, your site has an unsecured connection, which contributes to a lower ranking. Under Thomas's profile, when you click here, the email brings you to a 404 page error. Right? This is just simple stuff. So that makes it like for these people. I'm not looking for everyone because that would take way too long if I were to look for notes on everybody. But if something stands out, like there's a missing image, something doesn't load right, I'm going to point it out because it adds value, and it's likely that if someone sees it and they care about their site, they're going to say, oh, okay, thank you for pointing it out. You know what? Yes, send over the video. So we're going to click on next. You have map. Okay, so I need to map this. Competitor 1, competitor 2, competitor 3. So this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to have your company assigned to something called company. They're basically just mapping it to variables, sending whether or not they are text or not. If you want to have the volume, all you're going to do is you're going to add a new column, and it's going to be a number. Because I'm not using volume or any numbers, I'm just keeping them as text. So next, first 30, upload. Apparently I also have one duplicate. Because I tried doing this video earlier, so I don't know where the duplicate is, don't know who that is, but whatever. And then you're gonna have this stuff over here. So next, the last thing, let's see if I can insert any notes. So yes, so notes, I'm gonna insert any if there are any notes. So you'll see that this is the script. It's very similar to what I used in my previous video, but I addressed them as Dear Managing Partner because you want to be speaking with the managing partner. And now when I'm doing my lead generation and all that work, I'm generally going to be looking to speak with the managing partner, and I'm generally going to be able to find the managing partner. This is one of the reasons why I really like law firms, is because they usually list their attorneys. And behind that, which is another reason why I like attorneys and why they're good for soliciting, at least, or I shouldn't say that like you're kind of using them, but the reason why they are, because they are, they have to comply with the law, and they have to comply, there's a lot of ethical issues in law and stuff. Most of the attorneys will have at least the person in charge's direct email. So if, for example, there's a very small law firm, chances are the lawyer himself or the founding partner or managing partner is going to be reading the email, the info email. Now, if there's multiple attorneys, you have paralegals, enough counsels and all of that, then you're probably going to be able to, using Hunter.io, be able to find the managing partner's email. And it usually is somewhere in the about or staff page or something like that. And then you can find the email to directly message them, right? And that's what we're doing here, and this is why I like this strategy a lot. So we're going to save changes, and the campaign setting, everything's, you don't have to worry too much about this. I just choose it between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. Sometimes people say, okay, you should only have you can only send maximum of 50 emails a day. It doesn't really matter to me, and we can enable click tracking if we want, but I don't really mind. And if you're using the free version, you're going to only be able to send 200 emails. And so I think for me, I can only send, I I can only contact 1,000 prospects a month. So that's not bad, you know. I'm gonna be probably using that pretty soon, just because this month is gonna be crazy. But for like $24 a month, it's definitely worth it. So we're gonna just kind of take a look at and what the notes look like. You'll see down here. Actually, we'll get the notes down here, save changes, and we'll do the same in the follow-up. So there is this little 2 spaces, and it does look a little ugly in many ways, but you know, what can you really do about that? I don't think that's going to be the killer of the email. I don't think people are going to be, if they want to see the video, they're not going to care so much about this extra space. And so let's take a look at Landro. So let's take a look at info at Landro, right? P.S. under Thomas's profile, when you click here to email, it brings a 404 page error, right? So this way, again, you're adding some value. And now, again, all I'm going to do is just double check everything, make sure that the things that we say are, you know, is grammatically correct. And now I want to reiterate, I would not outsource this work. Maybe the sequence loading, in fact, I actually do want my VA to kind of do some of the sequence loading. But even then, you want to be the person that's making the final calls. You know, you don't want to be outsourcing something like lead generation. And I know I made YouTube videos on how to outsource it. You can, but I honestly regret doing that because I realized that, like, I am the person that should be deciding who I want to work with, not someone else. You know, lead filtering, on the other hand, if we have hundreds of leads and stuff like that, you know what, we can probably go ahead and automate that a bit, you know. So here you're going to be prompted with starting a campaign with a warm-up or without. Basically, a warm-up is they'll send like 10 emails or so. I usually, as long as it's not like you're sending 100 emails, I'll start without a warm-up. It doesn't really matter to me. And that's about it. Now you see over here, we have one error. For some reason, this info email will not accept anything. So they failed the email validation. I'm going to ignore it for now. It's not a big deal. And so, yeah, that's honestly how you're going to get some clients for this whole COVID-19 outbreak. Again, it's a very arduous process because you got to do this. Like, this is only 30. I was fortunate enough to already have my VA do 20. But again, those 20 people probably aren't going to be interested anyway. Because I outsourced, you know, I wasn't specific in my instructions. And it's hard to get people interested in your own business because it's your business, not their business, you know. So you got to do this work. You got to find people who you want to contact and who you would like to work with. And that, I think if you can't do that, then, you know, what are you going to do? What are you doing in business, you know? So with that being said, I wish you guys much health and safety during this time, and I'll see you hopefully in another episode sometime soon.